This is not going to go well for Cathy, and it doesn't go well for Cathy. And then there's Candace Parker, a legend in the WNBA, who now on her podcast peeled back the curtain. Things have gotten personal. Adam Silver called it out. Said, look, this whole thing's gotten personal. Comparing contrast between Adam Silver and Cathy Engelbert. I think there's no way that Adam Silver is not going to have to be the one that ends up spearheading these CBA negotiations.
Candace Parker didn't hold back, and her comments might have just drawn a line in the sand for the entire WNBA. She compared Adam Silver and Cathy Engelbert, and it wasn't even close. The way Parker described Silver's connection with players left fans wondering, is this the leadership the Women's League actually needs? Because if she's right, Engelbert could be walking into the toughest CBA negotiation of her career.
When the commissioner of another league is fulfilling a role and your actual commissioner is not, but it's very clear that the women in this league expect this kind of thing. Should they? That's another argument. That's where the perception is all jacked up. And it causes a real problem here.
With players already questioning if she's fit to lead them forward. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Viewers thought it would be a normal interview, but Candace Parker turned it into something closer to a public evaluation of who's really leading the WNBA.
Adam Silver is Cathy's boss, and he is the commissioner of the NBA.
Yep.
He made a statement a couple days ago.
Candace Parker with Aaliyah Boston on this Post Moves podcast they got.
It's not about viewership. It's, at this point, seems like there's relationship issues.
She didn't dodge the comparison either. On her Post Moves podcast, Parker went right at it, talking about how NBA Commissioner Adam Silver checks in with players, reaches out for personal milestones, and actually keeps up with what they're going through. Then came the part that hit hardest.
And I suspect she's like a lot of these players. I don't think she values Caitlin. I don't. Cathy Engelbert, she seems to have her head in the clouds when it comes to Caitlin Clark. We know Adam Silver does. He said plenty. He has actually said more than Cathy Engelbert about Caitlin Clark, if you want to know the truth.
Parker said she has a better relationship with Silver than with Cathy Engelbert, the head of her own league. That simple comparison landed with force because of who Parker is. She's not just another retired player with a microphone. She's a champion, a veteran who's lived every layer of the WNBA, and now a respected broadcaster with real influence. When someone like that starts questioning leadership, it doesn't sound like bitterness. It sounds like an audit. And her words framed the bigger question no one wanted to ask. What does good leadership in the league actually look like? Other players soon added their voices. Sabrina Ionescu hinted that her relationship with Silver was more personal than anything she's experienced with Engelbert. Elena Del Don noted she never got a call when she retired.
Elena Deladon, I didn't hear from Cathy when I retired. My 2 jersey retirements, there was no Cathy.
Yeah.
You've heard other players, Sabrina Ionescu alluded to this, I have a better relationship with Adam Silver than I do Cathy. So I think that Adam Silver understands the process. I don't know if he understood that Cathy was not doing that.
Those small details built Parker's case, showing a picture of a commissioner who feels more like a corporate executive than a partner. Then Nafisa Collier stepped in. She said Parker wasn't wrong, but she also reminded everyone that the messenger matters. Some thought Parker might have her own motives tied to side ventures like Unrivaled, and that complicated how her words were received. Online, fans split fast. Half praised her for saying what others only whispered, while the rest thought she might have just put cracks in the league's unity.
But the problem is, the messenger is a problem because of Unrivaled. Nafisa Collier, unfortunately, look, she said a lot of things that were true.
By the next day, Parker's comments weren't just quotes, they were headlines. And those headlines started shaping the next storm waiting right around the corner, the CBA talks. If the league stars stopped trusting leadership, that new CBA could turn into a fight instead of a deal. The talks are already coming fast, and the biggest thing the players' union needs right now is faith in Cathy Engelbert. But after Candace Parker's comments, faith has turned into doubt. When she called out Engelbert for being distant, she didn't just stir gossip. She made personal connection part of the business conversation. That's a problem, because negotiations depend on trust before anything can move forward. Engelbert's background in the corporate world means she's used to structure, data, and long-term strategy. But players want something else. They want to feel represented, not managed. They talk about Adam Silver texting players or checking in during hard times, a small detail that carries weight now.
I signed a deal with Amazon to broadcast for Amazon. I got a text from Adam Silver saying congratulations. I retired. Adam Silver sent me a text message that basically congratulated me on my career and how much I've done for the women's game, and he looked forward to how much I'm going to do from the sideline.
Parker once said, "This whole thing's gotten personal." And that line captures what's waiting at the bargaining table. It's not just about salaries or travel upgrades anymore. It's about whether the commissioner actually understands her players. The contrast keeps growing. Silver's relationship with NBA players built smoother negotiations, partly because he's visible and makes players feel seen.
Somebody from the league office is reaching out to me. I got a baby gift for my third child. I get a Christmas gift from Adam Silver every year. I had my third child. I got a text from Adam Silver about my third child. Now, whether this is Adam or his assistant.
Engelbert, on the other hand, is described as more corporate, less connected. With only 144 players in the entire WNBA, that gap feels even wider. Sabrina Ionescu even said she has a better relationship with Silver than with Engelbert. Combine that with Elena Del Don saying she never heard from the commissioner after retiring, and it paints a tough picture right before major talks begin. Now the risk is clear.
I have not heard from Cathy. I saw Cathy in Phoenix. And I say that if the NBA is our blueprint, then we have to look at that from top to bottom. We can't just choose what we look at that as. After I had been retired for 4 months at Phoenix All-Star Game, and she said congratulations in person.
If the players rally around Parker's words, Engelbert could find herself sitting across from a union that no longer believes in her. And in professional sports, confidence counts as much as contract terms. This is the moment that decides if Engelbert can repair that trust or lose the locker room before the season even starts. Candace Parker didn't just criticize Cathy Engelbert. She exposed something deeper about how personal connections drive the WNBA's success. When leadership feels distant, players stop believing their voices matter, and that trust gap shows up everywhere, from locker rooms to business negotiations. The league now stands at a crossroads. Can it move forward with a commissioner players don't feel connected to? Or does this moment force a change in how leadership actually works? As the next CBA approaches, that question will define the league's future, and everyone's waiting to see what Engelbert does next.